Imagine waking up in a beautiful sunny morning as the sun comes over the ocean in Boca Raton, Florida. Well, it makes you want to get out and enjoy the weather, and that's exactly what 41-year-old Felipe Ceres de Moraes decided to do on this beautiful sunny morning. Go out for a bike ride. He kissed his wife goodbye, he checked in on his 6-year-old daughter and 8-month-old son before heading out to enjoy the day. Unfortunately, he had no way of knowing that it would be the last time he would see his family. Philip was living what could be described as the American dream. He left Brazil 8 years ago and travelled to the United States with the hope of a better life. And that was exactly what happened. He married his wife, Ulara, and they had been living happily. He was working in IT and he was being very successful. In fact, his friends described him as someone who was dependable and reliable, always there when they needed someone. Philip was known for his incredible barbecues, and his neighbour Mohammed described him as graceful and respectful. In fact, he just celebrated his 41st birthday and his friends said he was living the best moments of his life. It happened on December the 15th, 2024, just a little after 7 a.m. Philippe was riding northbound in a designated bike lane and enjoying this beautiful ride in Florida when the unthinkable happened. Another cyclist riding near Philippe that morning noticed something very disturbing. He saw an SUV, a Chevrolet Equinox, driving erratically, swerving and moving between lanes. In fact, it came so close to him that he could have reached out and touched it. Then he heard the terrible impact. When police arrived at the scene, they literally found the bicycle embedded in front of the SUV. And Philippe lying face down on the road. He was pronounced dead at the scene. When police officers interviewed the SUV driver, they were amazed to find that he was unsteady on his feet, slurring his words and disorientated. In fact, he didn't seem to know where he was and what had happened, and was talking about hotel people. When questioned particularly about the incident, he was referring to another similar incident in Vermont, where he had tapped someone. Even more disturbing was that the driver's admission that he'd taken several drugs, including Adderall and 2 others. In fact, he thought it was 10:30 a.m. hotel checkout time, when in fact it was many hours earlier than that, and he failed multiple field sobriety tests. Driver was arrested at the scene and charged with DUI manslaughter. He's currently being held on a $150,000 bond, and he is not allowed to have contact with Philippe's family or any of the witnesses. The legal system is taking its course, but that does not erase the pain and suffering Philippe's family are going through. His wife of 17 years, his 6-year-old daughter and his 8-month-old son will, of course, continue to suffer his loss. Now, perhaps Hawkeye could have helped in this situation. There are no guarantees, of course, that this would have helped Philippe, but what Hawkeye does do is it offers improved situational awareness to whatever's coming up behind the rider. Now, in Philippe's case, the driver was driving erratically, changing lanes and moving from left to right. And one of the great things about Hawkeye is it can actually track the movement of specific vehicles. Now, this is completely different to radar-based systems, which really can't differentiate one car from the next. So it's very hard to figure out if somebody's driving erratically, as in the case with Philippe. Now, had he known this and been aware of it, perhaps due to Hawkeye, then he may have been able to move over further away from danger. Included with the Hawkeye system is a video recording camera, which in this case sort of completely recorded the incident and shown exactly what the driver had been doing, and a responsive light. So perhaps the whole situation could have been avoided had the driver been made more aware of Philippe riding the bike, and a responsive light does that because as vehicles come up closer behind, it can change its flashing pattern, bringing more attention to the rider and making the driver aware and possibly avoiding people like Philippe. This incident has ignited a wave of concern within the biking community. Michael Simon, the president of the Boca Raton Cycling Club, has expressed his concern about the narrowness of the bike lane and the need for better infrastructure. And this is a continuing theme in Florida and many other places. There really does need to be improvement in infrastructure and awareness for drivers, but there's also a need for something else: perhaps some technology. Philippe was a loving father and husband, and he has left behind a family, and he will never be replaced. But what we can do going forward is encourage drivers to drive more safely and improve infrastructure. And one of the problems with infrastructure is the cost and time it takes to improve infrastructure. But it takes very little time to invest in a product like Hawkeye and have that mounted on the back of your bicycle. It's an easy and quick and inexpensive part of the solution. If you're a cyclist, or you know a cyclist, or a loved one cycles, we encourage you to visit hawkeye.bike and check out our technology. We think it might be part of the solution, because we don't want any family to go through what Philippe's family is going through right now.